Hello, hello, my friends. Hi, Guillaume. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. At the moment, I'm Rachel Archelaus, as you can tell. Uh, I have the wonderful Carrie Roldan with me, your business BFF, and we will be soon talking to Intimate Alien, and you will definitely know when the switch happens. It's always so funny, like, as positive and upbeat as I am usually, it makes me look like a sloth when I bring in Intimate Alien because she's just so in your face, happy and bubbly. So I always love talking to her. And I love the opportunity that you get to talk to her. So, what I wanted to do today was talk about resistance because it's the only thing separating us from what we've all written down on our want lists and our vision boards and our mental notes and all the things that we've ever decided we wanted in this life experience. So she is so good at just cutting through all the BS and all the excuses we tell ourselves and all the real life obstacles that we are facing every day. She does acknowledge that our scenarios are really different from hers, and but I do love her clarity on this topic. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We're happy to interact with you. Hi, Corinne. Nice to see you. And yeah, Carrie.
Well, I think this is going to be a good one. So, and I am counting. Well, I say I'm counting on your questions because I come with very few for Intimate Alien today. But you guys who watch for a long time know I always seem to find more. So, but yes, put your questions for Intimate Alien in the chat. But before we bring in Intimate Alien, Rachel, I thought it might be good. I know many of our viewers know who Intimate Alien is or what Intimate Alien is and how she came to be. But could you remind us? Because I just wrote down the question. How did you discover Intimate Alien?
I love that question. I'll also say we are ramping up our social media. So follow Intimate Alien on TikTok, follow Intimate Aliens. That was the only thing available on Instagram. She does beautiful reminders, just a few seconds each day, and just lovely little sayings. So, how did I discover Intimate Alien? First of all, around 25, I discovered that I had just been surrounded by ETs my entire life, and I never ever knew it. I would never have thought it. I was not a kid looking up into space and like thinking that's where I'm from, or like thinking about aliens, just not on my mind whatsoever. But then around 25, I just started like putting all these weird random pieces together and having experiences and getting really frightened and all kinds of things. But then fast forward like a decade to 2017, I was on my, first of all, I had discovered that I was a group being about 2 years before that. Realize like Rachel is made up of many different energies. And I knew that Pleiadian was an energy at that point, and that's what Intimate Alien is. I knew angelic, I knew Zeta, I knew a few other things. And that was a really profound moment for me to go from thinking that I was one soul to knowing deep down in here, like having the physical experience that I'm many energies put together, which was really cool. And that helped me feel a lot more comfortable on this planet, funnily enough, because I was like getting to know myself, my real self, and knowing that I could be that here. But then in 2017, Intimate Alien came forward and she said, I would like to be a greater part of your experience. She wanted to come forward. She wanted to do this. She had me draw a picture of what she wanted to look like. Like it was a very intentional thing on her
Well, like,
part.
how did that happen? How did she come forward?
Okay.
I'm so curious.
So I was driving in remember my big RV Gertie. I was driving Gertie at night in the rain through windy Connecticut streets, coming back from Laura Hollick's studio for Solar Day, back to where I was staying in Connecticut, which was a very long drive. Um, And Intimate Alien, I didn't have a name for her yet, but this alien presence came forward, and I knew her as part of me because our energies are overlapping. So she said in my mind, and kind of like, I can't, if you don't have experiences like this, it's hard to, but she like poked her head forward energetically and said, "Hey, I want to be a bigger part of your experience." So I heard it in my being, in my head. I felt the energy kind of like merge into its own individuated form. And then when I got back to where I was staying, I was actually locked out, which was funny. But I had my notebook there. And so that's when I drew the picture. And she wanted to show me what she looked like. Just like I can talk to her now without letting her come forward. We talk in our heads all the time. She was just telling me and showing me what she wanted to look like. So I drew it down. I wrote some notes that she had for me, basically like, relax, it's okay. Like she was giving me pep talks like this today, right from the beginning. And then the first thing I did with her, to honor her wishes, was I wrote whatever she wanted me to write. We basically wrote a story and took some pictures. And then she made a video for me. So the first time she came forth in her physicality, really, was we made a video about purpose. What does an alien think about purpose? It was on a green screen. It was really cool.
So I remember when all this happened,
Yeah.
I've actually like not digested the story in this way. So before we bring her out, I still have one more question. And if you guys
Yeah.
have questions for Rachel before we bring Intimate Alien forward, now's the time. But my question about that is, in that moment, and when she kind of poked her head forward. So like I know if I had this experience, I would be, I think, feeling the comforting feel, the presence, or like the curiosity. Like I have not had experiences that intense, but I imagine I might also be judging the experience, like um maybe a little frightened by it, or a little like, am I crazy? Like, were you having any of that?
Not at all. No, because it felt familiar. Like I knew what that energy was. I knew it was a, so before I had the knowing that I was a group being, I would talk to these entities, these angels and Pleiadians and Zetas, as spirit guides. I would, every night before bed, I'd ask them questions. We would chat. We would talk in my office. Like it was an everyday occurrence for me to talk to these beings. And so I knew their energy. Just like, kind of like if your sister, your spouse walks behind you, you know who it is, right? Same kind of thing. Um, so I was used to interacting with them. And then I had this weird thing, I think it's called a dissension of spirit, somebody told me, where I had this big identity crisis. I was in this fog for days. And then I had this experience where all these beings that were outside of me went into me. And then there I was, like, oh, they're me. Okay, that's cool. So I already had the experience of her being in me and me talking to her. So it was really not shocking.
That's cool. That is like, so, sorry for this analogy. So one, I just want to say that you telling that story again, I can totally see it as if it were in a movie. So I can't wait until it is a movie. But two, it makes me, the poking the head forward. Have you seen the movie Beetlejuice? You know, she has that clay picture of his head, and that was like what I was imagining. So that's probably why, not clay picture, clay sculpture. Okay. Well, thank you for talking about this. So if you guys are new to us or to Intimate Alien, now you know a little bit about where she comes from. So Rachel, when you are Intimate Alien, would you say you are channeling her?
I would, in the sense that everyone is channeling. Like when you're connected to your higher self, you're channeling yourself. I think we're always in a state of channeling. So yes, but at the same time, it's a little bit different. I feel like it's an embodied kind of channeling, rather than just like there's an entity over there and I'm channeling the energy here. It's a little bit different than that.
I'm only thinking about and I apologize you guys for anyone who's like been in this world for a really long time and like has maybe more of a vocabulary than I do for it because I'm thinking or references besides Harry Potter. But I am thinking about my idea of channeling is that the channeler doesn't always know or remember what the energy that comes through, the being that comes through is saying or doing. Is that true or am I making that up? I know it's not true with Intimate Alien.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of people's experiences, and it doesn't mean anything in particular. Like it, I've seen in my friend Daniel Scranton when he's channeling like a lower dimensional energy, like a sixth dimensional fairy or something. He's more present. He remembers more. He can get thrown off a little bit easier because he doesn't have to travel that far vibrationally to match that energy, so it doesn't feel that different. Whereas if he's channeling something else, like the creator's ninth dimensional, like he's all moving around, like he's not really there. He's not really remembering necessarily. I think Abraham Esther has talked about like she doesn't really remember a lot. Um, and it doesn't mean you're a bad channeler or anything. It's just everyone has a different experience. And I've never done the kind of channeling where I don't remember. I can channel anything. I've always channeled anything like spirit guides, higher selves, angels, whatever. It's just,
Dina.
yeah, it's just Dina, friends. It's just connecting with energy and allowing yourself to talk. It's just easier, honestly. I used to say, oh, he said this, they said this, she said that, whatever. It's just so much easier to just open your mouth and let them talk. Like, so that's really why I do that.
Okay. Well, I'm out of questions about the how or where it came from. So I'm ready for Intimate Alien if you are. Do you have anything before she gets here?
No, just I love her so much. Have fun. Don't be shy if you want to ask questions. And I'm sure she'll have a lot to say. So it's not all on you. But she does require lots of water. So I'm going to drink more water.
That's so interesting because that is one of the questions I wrote down for her. So
Perfect. Okay. We are here. Hello. Hi. We see there are other people here that we cannot see before us. So hello, hello. We love you. We thank you for coming. And today we are so happy to be with Carrie. Carrie is one of our favorite people. She's amazing. And you know what? We love that she knows she is amazing. Yes, that is very good. Very good. So we were going to speak on resistance today. But let us see, is there anything you want to start with?
Let's start with resist. So thank you and hello. And it's
Hello.
interesting how I resisted that. So when you said Carrie knows how amazing she is, I was like, I mean, yeah, but do you have to like tell everyone that? So I
Yes, yes,
felt,
this is a good example.
but I felt resistance in that. So let's start there. Let's talk about resistance.
Yes, okay. Well, you're talking about a compliment, right? So, a very good gauge of whether or not you are able to allow in the things on your list is can you be a good receiver in other areas, right? Can you receive a compliment, right? Can you receive that? Are you open to knowing how wonderful you are? If you are knowing deep down that you are wonderful, you will readily receive it. So, we would encourage you to practice receiving. If you get a compliment, take it in, love it, wear it, go for it, and compliment yourself as often as you can. When you think of yourself, when you look at yourself, please shower love on the being that is you, because you are the one with the open and close valve. So you can keep it open to receive, open to know you are amazing, you are worthy. It will be easier to have everything else come in.
That got me yawning. So thank you for that. And I just want to say that I could feel myself this week recognizing that I'm still doing that. I'm still finding new ways. I was writing something in my journal about, I like to do like I am statements about things that I am excited about receiving. And one of them I've been writing for years, and like it's feeling more grounded and more solid and really good. But just this week I was able to write like, and I freaking deserve it. And I thought, why have I never been able to say that before? So it was like a new level of allowing, right? Realizing like, yeah, it's happening. And oh man, I deserve that. So yeah, anything on worthiness or deserving?
Well, we could spend the whole time here, right? So we wish for you to receive what it is like for me, right? So just maybe open up a little bit, take this in, see how it feels to you. But where I live in a higher dimension, there is no concept of unworthiness. We do not have resistance. We do not have anything other than 100% acceptance and love. It's not a choice. It is all that exists there. So if it were possible for me to choose something else, I would be booted out of there because the physics wouldn't allow me to stay. Your vibrational set point controls your surroundings. So if I were to go against the rules, the laws of my dimension, I would not be able to exist there. So if you want to be in harmony with all that you've asked for, then you need to find the rules of that dimension. The rules of that dimension are self-love, self-acceptance, relaxation, well-being, and all of those yummy, wonderful feelings that you want. Freedom, creativity, right? All of that, all of those things. So find that place that will sync you up with what you want.
I know.
Yes.
I'm feeling that. And it feels really good. And two questions came up. So the first is it was my own resistance to you saying there's no concept of unworthiness. It's only acceptance and love. And there's no like, I don't know. My resistance to that is like, well, isn't it boring? Like, isn't it bland? Isn't it plain that there's no resistance or no
That's
concept?
a great question. Great. When you are on vacation, not worrying about time, enjoying yourself, is it boring? No. It's the most wonderful moments of your life.
Fair. All right. So my next question, oh, you got me yawning. My next question is about what you just said. Like, if you were feeling unworthy, the physics would boot you out. And then you had amazing words about what it feels like to be there. And my question is, okay, so what's the physics of here? Like, what are you said, understand the rules here so you can have what you want. What are the rules?
Well, when we were saying here and giving you those words, we were pointing to the fifth dimension and above. So you have crossed the threshold from 3 to 4. You are often in the fifth, right? Anytime you are aligned, you are connected to your higher self, you are in the fifth dimension. And what is that? Yes, Abraham calls it your vortex, correct? That is your fifth and above. And all you need to know is that when you are feeling good and relaxed or happy, whatever, clearly in well-being, you are high enough to let in, to achieve what you want. Now, where you get stuck some of the time is in that fourth dimension. That is a thought dimension. And you are starting to understand paradox. And you say this very often, and this and that is fourth dimension, that capability, being in the moment. But what can get you a little bit off track is that all thoughts that have ever been created still exist in the fourth dimension. So you have a lot to choose from, right? You are inundated. Think about your technology, your Twitter, your news, your all these things, all of this information, all of it all at once. And so if you are not good at managing your vibrational state, because everything is attraction, if you are all over the place, you will find that everything comes to you, and it's not a pleasant experience. And so you get very off track worrying about things that not need to be worried about. That is really the trap of the fourth dimension, whereas there were so many heavy emotions in the third. It felt so hard. You were like living in mud in the third dimension. Difficult to get out of any situation, right? Very, very difficult to rid yourself of those heavy emotions. Well, that is gone. You feel that, right? Very different first part of your lives, emotion-wise. But now it is all up here that you are really fine-tuning your ability to stay focused on what you want. And that will help you emerge into the fifth more gracefully, but you are already going there, and you can go there as often as you wish.
I think I'm going to yawn every time you talk. Okay, more questions. And please, you guys, put them in the chat because I'll just keep questioning away. So if you have questions about any of this, put them in the chat. So are these dimensions that you're talking about, are these stages of our human development? Like you said, when you referenced the third dimension, you sort of talked about when you were a child. And I've always assumed that when we talk about emerging from one dimension to the other, moving, that this is sort of like a planetary thing. But is this more of a human development thing? Like when you're young, you're here, or what is it?
Not quite. It is a linear thing for your timeline. But it happens, here we go again, and, right? You choose your evolutionary speed, each one of you, but there are also cosmic forces that are providing the energy to hold on to, right? So it exists in your universe, and it is also a personal choice. So lots of people are on the boat right now at the same time, but then someone may choose to live it a little differently. So does that make sense?
Totally. Okay, I have more questions about something that has recently happened here in the United States. That it feels, when you said in the fourth dimension, where we can get tripped up is that every thought that's ever been thought still exists. And what my judgmental brain heard is like, man, we're picking up some antiquated thoughts. And so, and yet I love the idea that thought evolves and that the evolution of thought is somehow preserved in the fourth dimension. But so I don't know how many weeks ago now, the Supreme Court here in the United States overturned something called Roe versus Wade. And Rachel and I had different responses, but both of our responses definitely did not feel good. And to me, it felt like someone, or not someone, a lot of people have picked up some antiquated thoughts. And so I'm just curious about that. I guess I'm curious about, what do you have to say about that? And so many females on this planet sort of reaction to that whole thing. I'll stop and you can talk.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to speak about it because it's the perfect example, right? The thing is, how you see the world determines what you see. So, if you see the world as an equal opportunity to align with source and create your own life, if you really believe that you are a creator, which we do, surprise, surprise, then to see lack or oppression or victimization, it cancels out your real truth. So we are not saying that those words are inaccurate to those other people's experiences, but they can find their way out with your example of alignment. We know it can be difficult to go against a popular view, right? Because you have many views on your planet, there are bound to be many different intersections that you do not wish to travel on. You do not want to hear the other side. Why? Because it does not affirm your truth. So it has nothing to do with you. What you can contribute to the situation is your example of alignment. And that way you create a bridge, not just through physical senses of seeing you, hearing you, but energetically creating a stronger front of alignment on your planet for this to become a mainstream thing, which will happen whether you choose to do this or not, right? So you have seen the evolution of understanding on your planet. It does seem like some people are holding to ideas that were popular long ago for many different reasons, maybe not great ones, right? But just because they are having some success in making their voices loud, it does not mean it will last, and it does not mean that that is a real interpretation of the energy of your planet. We will say, just by viewing your planet, that lots of people like confrontation, lots of people like to disagree. You aren't just here for joy, you're also here for pure experience. And part of growing up as a species involves tantrums, it involves riots, it involves finding your way as a human being, right? Finding your voice. So we are not bothered by this. And it is okay if you aren't. It is okay if you are. There is really no wrong way to go through this. But you can say to yourself, what I most want here is peace, choice, freedom, love, acceptance. And so those are the things that I must feel if I want to contribute to that. We are seeing you move, but not hearing you.
Thank you. I was muted. So I see that there is a question in the chat, but before we get there, I just have one more thing to ask, because one of the things that is happening, not just in this country, but sort of on the planet right now, is what you talked about, where people, we see the world. I'm fascinated actually by like the polarization of ideas. And I have someone who, she and I love each other. We're good friends. We've known each other for a long time. Like on a human level, I care very deeply for her. Of course, like I would run to her aid if she needed anything. And the ideas that she espouses publicly infuriate me, and I judge her so harshly in my head. But she posted something today, and it said basically like, if you think this way, you might be delusional, you might be, and it like listed all these things, and I was like, that's exactly what I think you are. Anyways, it was so polarizing, and it was just a moment of like clarity, that of what you said, like how you see the world determines what you see. And now I don't even remember my question. Oh, I guess is like, so is what's happening? Because we're sort of being told, I don't know, it's maybe this is what I'm seeing, right? But we're sort of being told that this is a bad thing. That like we're so polarized and we're so far apart, and like this is a bad thing. Do you not see it as a bad thing?
You are speaking that people have different opinions? That?
And that we're so different that we are unwilling to entertain any sort of other ideas, right? That actually, the way you're talking, that sounds like right on, people. So that's what, but yet we're kind of being told this is a bad thing. I'm just curious.
Well, what is interesting to me is that I see all of your higher selves playing together. I do not see what you see. So there is no real divide. You are acting one out. Whether you, if you do not enjoy it, then stop, right? So it's a choice that you get to have, just as they get to have that choice too.
Okay. I think I'm done with that. There's one more question that wants to be asked, but I'm going to pause. I'm going to hold it for a minute because I want to go to our comments. So there's one that says,
You can do this. Yes.
there we go. Okay. So you're welcome. And it says, is there a specific kind of resistance we share toward being fabulous? Like, are we all having collective resistance to being our amazing, awesome, fabulous selves?
We would say yes. Yes, because on your planet there are certain ideas that you adopt freely. Well, one of them being that you are responsible for another person's experience, right? If everyone on the planet disappeared, would you feel, and you did not grow up with that belief, if you just grew up, you found yourself, I'm under a rock now, I am in this planet, well, I will be me, right? There would be no other way to go. Your animals on their planet, they grow up, they have instincts, right? You have your own instincts, you have your own preferences. You are a bigger being than you see in your mirror, most of you. So if you were left to your natural devices, it wouldn't be a problem. But you also signed up to come here. You signed up to be here, to be in the environment where it is a more challenging thing to be yourself. So what we would recommend, though you didn't ask for advice, I will give it, is do not worry about whatever you soaked up as a child. Don't think about that. Start putting your attention here. How do I want to appear in this world? What do I want to think about right now? Is there something I wish to do that maybe I haven't done recently or is new to me? What am I curious about? Find a way, find a practice, right? Go for walks without music, journal, do something that connects you in here, and none of that will be in your way anymore. And when something does pop up that is unexpected, maybe you are doubtful of something, find that inner strength again, or talk to other people like us who can encourage you, because It is just about, we love to do this. Rachel points this out sometimes. If you are looking here, not seeing what you want, not being yourself, having struggle, all you need to do is point yourself in a new direction, new thoughts, new inspiration, new vibration. Just find something that can help you focus in a more positive way, and you will get there.
Yeah, that one's gonna make me yawn. So thank you. And it sounds so simple. And so I have a question about why is it so hard to look the other direction? But I'm also sure I also want to look at Guillaume's question, and I have a feeling they'll be connected. Because Guillaume says, I'm feeling lost and confused. Not too sure why I'm feeling this. So I think he's asking, do you know? Do you know why he's feeling this?
Well, let us bridge it with the first question, which is, you will always feel out of place until you make a place for yourself here. You are not here to be like everyone else. You're not here to want like everyone else. You're not here to do the same things as everyone else. And you're saying, LH, that there are a specific kind of people that are here regularly. You are not regular people. You are on this front of evolution. You are knowing that your truth exists and is very powerful. You know that you are a creator. And so stop thinking that that is going to create you into what you've already seen. You might not recognize what it is that wants to become of you. You might not have a reference point for a version of success that is satisfying. So there is nothing to compare yourself to. Think about that. If you feel lost and confused, you are trying to compare yourself to some standard that you are not reaching. But throw out the standard. You are perfect the way you are. That is what to internalize. Oh, if I feel lost, where do I think I am? Let's go inside and find it. What makes me smile? Where am I when I'm feeling good? What do I really want to do right now? Don't worry about the rest of your life. Right now. What am I? But not in here. Remember, in here. We hope that helps. What do you think, Carrie?
I think that what hit me most importantly was I think it is a very human thing for us to be like, well, what do I want to do? That feels like such a big, heavy question. And like what I choose right now has ramifications into the future, which it does. But it is like, what do I want to do right now? I think that is a very, very helpful way of framing things. I'm going to yawn again. Let
us expand on that, because it's true. What you do now does affect the future. But let us tell you that you are not just your earthly being. And so if you can tap into satisfaction, curiosity, what do you want to do right now? Do you want to eat lunch? Do you want to take a walk? That allows your higher self to guide you very strategically into that bigger outcome. You're not losing anything by choosing right now. You are gaining all of it. When you try to micromanage the future and the pathway, that is where you cut yourself off. That is where you come up short.
This concept that you're talking about, that is something I know and I understand, and I'm guessing most of the people here also do. And it is probably my biggest challenge to remember, to not like, I feel like I've just been conditioned to believe like, I'll do what I want after I do what I have to do. And
Right.
so, yeah, that's like life changing. That idea that you could just do, what do I want to do right now, and trust that that's the best thing. That's revolutionary.
And think about it when you have done that, because all of you have, how did it turn out? Pretty
Amazing.
great. Pretty great. Yes, amazing, fabulous. That's where your fabulous lies.
Oh, great. Intimate alien. Great way of like pulling that together.
We are with it. Yes.
um, and at least for me in the beginning, it was allowing myself to do what I want. I couldn't even yet see that it was leading me down the path to fabulous, which I totally get now. But I was like, nothing bad happened, right? Just the fact that I could honor what I needed, a 5-minute break, a nap, sit down and watch the Kardashians and eat lunch, like whatever it was. And nothing bad happened. Like that was enough at first to let me start trusting myself. So for anybody who's leaning down that path, I have a change of topic. It's not a change of topic. It's all the same topic, but I have a question about, you said you will always feel out of place until you make a place for yourself. I really love that. And that resonates with me really strongly. And what came to me immediately was like, oh, is that what's happening right now with so many people who are transgendered, or like people who, but what I find is interesting is they're making a place for themselves, but they're also making a safe place for each other. So is that what is happening? Tell me what's happening with this whole thing, because are there more transgendered, non-binary, all of the words people than there ever have been, or have we just created a safer place?
Well, we must tell you that today we are wearing our he, him shirt that was made by Ellie Berry, who is trans. And it is not that there are more people who identify differently than the binary or differently than their assigned sex at birth. It is just that there is a much more open energy on your planet that is allowing them to know that. So, like Guillaume was saying, feeling lost and confused. For a long time, not everyone who chose that way of being on your planet, but if there was no reference point outside of them, if they did not ever see a trans person or a gay person or whatever, non binary, if they never heard that, it would be very difficult to put that label on themselves. They just felt out of place. They just felt like they were not meant for this world. They felt like they weren't the right kind of person or in the right kind of expression. So they had to find their truth in here. And then the words came, and then the others came, and then now it is a much more friendly place because you are on a roll. There is momentum for acceptance, right? It is not universal yet on your planet, but it's getting there. So it is also the fact that you have always attracted star beings to your planet from the beginning. Your planet is populated with aliens, right? None of you are really earthlings, but there is a clearer energy coming in now from different places in the galaxy and the universe, and that pungency of different is evident, right? Even if it has nothing to do with gender or sexuality, there is different here. There is gender non-conforming, right? Totally wiping away that idea. So that provides another springboard, right? You will continue to see different kinds of beings, different kinds of expression because you are all making room for more, and there is more references so people can more quickly identify where they fit in.
Okay, everything you say gives me more questions.
We love that. That is great.
So I do have more, and I'm not sure where to go. Earlier you said you chose to be here. You chose to be here. And I recently read an article, and this actually had to do with the whole Roe v. Wade thing. It was somebody's response to that. But I've heard this from lots of people, whether they're people who have been, I think this person was saying I didn't choose to be adopted, but also people who have been born out of artificial insemination, and they're saying I didn't choose. They're fighting for rights or whatever. Anyways, I didn't choose to be born. So can you talk about, is that just our resistance? Can you talk about that?
Well, it is just it's growing pains, right? Like you're finding the boundaries of your society, and it's all just part of the process. Everyone who is on your planet chose to be here. Everyone on your planet is a being of free will and of source connection. And so, if that were really true, that person or whatever they are could just decide to leave, right? So, it is really a miscommunication on a higher dimensional plane, but for the purposes of your earth, it makes sense.
Okay, I get that. You said something else that I was like, what? You said none of you are really earthlings. What? You said there are lots of alien beings on our planet. So I think you and I have had this conversation before, but clearly I did not retain all of it. My point of reference, people, is Men in Black, right? The movie Men in Black. But I'm very curious about this idea. Like, what do you mean we're not human beings?
Well,
Not earthlings.
so every one of you is a source being, right? Your energy comes from one place, and you can all differentiate and go on and have lots of lives, and you do in many different places. And so you accumulate a sort of signature to your energy, right? And it is not just from this place. All of you are pulling energy from many different places. And there may be a few of you who have only been to Earth, but that is exceptionally rare and usually does not last very long. So, besides the fact that everything happens now, so to splay out everyone's lives is sort of a misnomer, because every life is happening now. Source is expanding now because of all of that. It's the dishwasher. There's all the things in the dishwasher. They're all clanking together. The water's going everywhere. It's all happening now.
All right, that made me yawn and smile. This idea that we're all in the cosmic dishwasher.
Yes.
So talk to me about, I talked about the movie Men in Black, and I saw a moment of recognition. So clearly Rachel has seen Men in Black. Like, what are we talking about when like, obviously you're an alien and you are a part of Rachel. So there's like a sub question, which is this whole group of beings that you're in there with. Like, are you guys simpatico? Do you get along? Is there maybe actually let's start there. Can you talk to me about what it's like to be part of the Rachel?
Yes. So, yes, there is mostly a nonverbal communication between the rest of us. We do not necessarily have conversations together, but it is all energetic and perfect synchronicity. Though we can speak, and we have, I also am alive in the Pleiades, so there is no sense of constriction, right? And the same with all of them. There is no one 100% parked here. Everyone has some energy there and has their own life as well.
Okay. My humanness and my ideas with separation is struggling with the idea of that you could be alive and living your incredible life in one place and also alive and fully present in Rachel. So that is my next question. I think you've told me it's either you or Rachel said, when you go to sleep, you're in another dimension, you're somewhere else. So that is what my brain can do with that right now, to like, are you sleeping somewhere else and here now? Help me wrap my head around that.
It is actually not very difficult if you think about even you as you are awake right now. You are here in this fifth dimensional space, sometimes the fourth, used to be the third, but you are always connected to source. If you have intuition, if you've had any psychic moments, you will know that your energy is connected up and is connected to everyone else. And so you still continue to have a higher self, you have a soul, you have a source connection, you are a multi-dimensional being already. And for me, Intimate Alien, I am alive on a higher dimensional plane, and my expression, it goes farther down the chain than it would have if I had chosen not to be with Rachel. So it is not even separate from your own experience. She just has more energies intersecting here. But you are already a multidimensional being, alive on multiple dimensions, all of them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And I'm going to have to watch this again. I'm wondering, actually, I'm looking at the time, it's 12:22. So I'm wondering if any of you guys have any questions about that, or if your heads are exploding as what is happening as I'm hearing this is, which often happens with me, is like intellectual acceptance of like, all right, well, I guess that's true, but like not actual integrating the understanding of what you've said. So like makes sense and makes absolutely no sense. So
That's okay.
so that's where I am with that. Okay. So LH says, from your vantage point, hold on, I gotta scroll up my screen. What's the significance of heavy duty, problematic, romantic, and sensual attraction between and among people? So I don't know. I don't know if I fully understand the question. Are you grabbing it?
Well, this is the perfect. Oh, wait, sorry. We're going to do that. We hear you. We hear you. Rachel has had these occurrences as well. And the significance is that you are experiencing resistance while trying to love someone. It will not feel good. Love is such a explosive, fabulous, very strong force, not even just an emotion. It takes a lot to resist that. And if you're up for it and you've got the resistance, you're going to feel terrible, terrible, fighting against yourself. So we would not recommend feeding that resistance. If you cannot find a way to relax about it and even turn that inward, how can I just feel this love that I'm looking for, or that is inspired by this other being? I am done with this negativity. It is not love. And that is what I really want. I really want the love part. So I can relax, or I can turn it around, or I can take it out of my world. I can do something, but now that I know that I'm just fighting myself as hard and as brutally as I can, that does not feel like a pathway I wish to choose anymore.
You said love is a force, not just an emotion. And I've also heard that said of resistance, that it is a force of nature. It's not just internal. Is that true?
Resistance is it can be slight, or it can be tumultuous, depending on your momentum with it. We would not categorize them as the same thing, because resistance doesn't live in the universe outside of your creation of it, whereas love is present in all things.
Something about that is incredibly reassuring. So I hope that everyone just heard that. um, love is present in all things, and resistance doesn't live outside of our creation of it. That's a huge relief.
Yes.
And also a little bit frustrating as I recognize how much resistance I feel in my life, and knowing, simultaneously knowing, like, this doesn't exist unless I've created it, unless I give it power. It has momentum because I created it.
Yes. So, and you know how you let it go is you attach to something new, something exciting. Change your focus to something better.
Oh, that gave me a yawn. Intimate Alien. This has been good. This has been,
Oh, we are happy about that.
yeah. So we are just about at 12:30, which is will be at an hour. Is there anything you want to say or Rachel wants to say before we head out?
Well, we will just, from Rachel and me, from all of us here. It's hard to make words for it. We just wish you to know that you are supported in all things.
That got a yawn out of me. Thank you. I always feel so uplifted by our talks. And today I not that I do not feel uplifted, but I feel incredibly supported and relieved and relaxed. So I hope that everybody watching is experiencing that as well. Yeah. So I would love to bring Rachel back for the last minute or two. Thank you so much for being here, Tammy.
She is very excited to be here all the time. If I can talk now. Yeah, that was great. Great questions. That was so, like, new for me, certain things. Like, it's fun to hear all of that go down, you know.
Oh, I never got to the question about aliens among us. So in our last 1 minute, like, I mean, what are we talking here?
Well, infinite numbers of non-physical who look like something, you know, some of the time. Like, there's all different configurations, all different geometries, all different beings all the time, everywhere. But in terms of like the physical people, there's a couple different kinds. Like, there's walk-ins, there's like actual there's actual physical aliens that look like people. There's also actual people that have aliens. So there's a whole lot of stuff.
So interesting. Okay. Well, we're at time, so I'll just be like, what the heck? I will leave with a what the heck feeling of curiosity and excitement around that. And yeah, just thank you. Thanks, Intimate Alien, for this talk. This was good stuff. Thank you guys for your questions.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it, Guillaume and LH and Corinne. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everyone who didn't comment, is watching the replay. We love you, and we'll see you next week. Bye, Carrie. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.